On my first day back in the classroom, I walked in with nothing but excitement and zero expectations. What I didn't expect was the welcome gift the students prepared for me. The doors swung open. A whole bucket of boiling water dropped from the ceiling. For a second, the entire class froze, mouths open, eyes wide. But me? I barely flinched. See, before becoming a teacher, I served in the U.S. Navy SEALs. Guns, combat, kung fu, survival. I've lived through worse than a hot shower from a bunch of teenagers. Now I'm retired, trying to live a normal life, and this school decided to dump me into the most notorious class on campus. People said 888 teachers had already been scared off. To me, they were just kids, nothing I couldn't handle. Early that morning, I walked in with a cup of coffee. The scene looked like a circus. Someone gaming, someone drumming, someone literally cooking noodles. Not a single person ready for class. I walked over to the kid sleeping.
Good morning!
He didn't even twitch. I turned to the board to write my name, Chin. Behind me, the class burst into laughter. Apparently, my Chinese handwriting looked like chicken scratches. Before I could respond, my phone rang. I turned around and saw a group of boys holding my coffee, dumping something in it. I didn't say a word. I just picked up a rubber band, a piece of chalk, squinted, and fired. Snap, chalk bullets. Those kids looked like drowned rats running in the rain. "Welcome to my class," I said. "Round one, mine." The next day, they tried to get revenge. Of course they did. Kids like them never lose quietly. So I changed tactics. "If you can answer 3 of my questions correctly," I told them, "you can leave class and do whatever you want." Instant silence. I asked the smoker kid first. "Can I have a cigarette?" He handed one over, confused. Question 1. "What are the chemical components of this cigarette?" His eyes went blank. The class gasped. He wasn't expecting actual learning. One by one, I hit them with questions. Simple but sharp. By the end of class, they knew every harmful chemical in their precious cigarettes. And more importantly, they learned something without being forced. But someone else was watching. An education officer stepped into the hallway sneering at me. He didn't care about creativity, just test scores. "If their grades don't rise," he warned the principal, "the school shuts down." I didn't flinch. Good education isn't about fear. It's about making kids want to learn, making them curious. And outside of class, I took care of them too. Some kids lived in rough homes. Some had broken families. Some carried invisible wounds. I used my own money to help the poorest ones. I created racing games for kids who couldn't talk to their fathers. I became more than a teacher. I became someone they could depend on. But trouble followed us. One of my boys got mixed up with gang members. They forced him to drink drugged water. When I arrived, I walked straight toward the leader. "Sorry to interrupt," I said. "I'm looking for my student, 16, about this tall." They laughed at me. A UFC fighter stood to my left, flexing. Another giant blocked my path. I pulled the toothbrush out of one guy's mouth, tapped it against my palm, transformed it into a weapon, and then it began. Chairs flew, bodies dropped. Even the UFC champion charged at me and ended up flat on the floor. Suddenly, I wasn't just a teacher, I was on the news. That's when the students finally learned the truth. I used to be the biggest troublemaker in this very school. I had destroyed statues, ruined ceremonies, even broken a boy's hand so badly he could never play piano again. That boy? He was expelled because of me. The principal should have hated me, but instead, he gave me one last chance, a letter of recommendation to a military academy in the US. And that letter saved my life. But war didn't give me peace. It only showed me destruction, so I retired, wandered, searched for meaning. Until one day, I received a postcard from the principal. That's when I returned, not as a soldier, but as a teacher. After hearing my story, the students changed. Even teachers from other classes wanted to eat with me. One morning I walked in. An apple sat on my desk. "Who put this here?" I asked. The beautiful teacher from next door stepped in. The students cheered. The atmosphere was alive. For the first time, these kids wanted to study. They worked hard, dreaming of acing the college entrance exam. But on exam day, everything collapsed. A gang leader stormed the campus, locking the school down, trapping the kids inside. I fought my way through the thugs, yelling for the students to run for the test. Then the gang leader appeared. I pointed at him. He pointed at his left hand, and suddenly, everything froze. He was the boy, the pianist, the kid whose future I destroyed. He had come for revenge. We fought. Brutal. Desperate. He couldn't defeat me. So he pulled out a knife. I disarmed him and pointed the blade back. Everyone thought I was going to stab him. Instead, I drove the knife into my own thigh. A debt repaid. For your hand, I whispered. For the mistake I made. He fell to his knees and cried. Sometimes as kids we think our pain is small, our rebellion meaningless. But what we do can scar someone for a lifetime. If only we could all be a little kinder, maybe schools wouldn't need teachers like me to fight their battles. Before you go, if this story pulled you in, even for a moment, do me one favor, tap the like button. It seems small, but it tells YouTube, yeah, I want more stories like this. And if you've watched this far, that already makes you part of the channel. So hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because I don't want you to miss the next twist, the next shock, the next moment that makes you lean closer to the screen. Also, I want to hear your take. What would you have done in this situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and your comments help shape the next videos. Thank you for being here. Now, ready for the next story?